Hi guys, so welcome back to another episode today. We are actually on our way to Wales to film with former Love Island contestant and current online coach Tom Powell.
Seems stressed.
I think you're a little snake.
I believe he's going to be taking us through a leg session tomorrow, and we've just started our journey on the way there. As you can see, it's currently pouring it down, probably going to be even rainier in Wales. And yeah, today we'll just be doing a bit of exploring. It's my first time out the country today, and yeah, looking forward to it.
So coming into the fitness industry, what was your kind of like, protagonist to get you there? What made you start training? How old was you? What was your kind of story coming into training originally? Or was it just you've always trained since a young age?
I've always trained, always. I was in the Wales Rugby League squad since 14 years old. I think I did my first training plan when I was 16. Like the Welsh team put me on a training plan, then I think 16 years old, 17 maybe, and all the way up through to 21, I was in the Welsh squad. So I was training athletically. They would put you in the gym to do power work, and that was it. I broke my metatarsal, couldn't run for like 6 months, so they dropped me, obviously. And instead of being a grown-up and like being, yeah, fuck it, I'll come back next year, I had a one-way flight to Zante and I haven't played since.
Fair enough.
So I've always been in the fitness industry, always loved it. But then, because I couldn't play athletically, I thought, let's try a different venture, and got into bodybuilding instead. Did bodybuilding for, not bodybuilding, but you know, aspired to be a bodybuilder for years and years. Tore my pec off, realised I can't be a bodybuilder anymore, it's deformed. So then I got into CrossFit, and now I do a hybrid approach of CrossFit and hypertrophy.
What was specifically the draw to CrossFit? Or was it just it was a convenient alleyway to go down at the time?
My mate was really into it, and he asked me to go for a session. And I love a challenge, love it. Like if I'm bad at something, like I used to have tiny legs, so I'd smash legs for years until my legs are now good. Like I like working on my weaknesses, and I was pretty unfit. You know, as all like bodybuilders are, no bodybuilders are fit. If you asked a bodybuilder to do 5K, they'd fucking die. So I decided I don't want to be like that. And CrossFit is a good way to mix weights and cardiovascular fitness together. And from the first session, I was hooked.
So speaking on more what training actually does, obviously in the shape which you're at now, especially when you was on Love Island, that put you massively in the public eye. Would you say that increased your confidence in terms of you was proud of what shape you was in, or was it more that it affected your mind in, shit, I need to be bigger, I'm focusing more on the critique side of things? Was it more of a confidence boost, or did it encourage more of a body dysmorphia style effect?
I think the second you start training, you have body dysmorphia. Everyone does. You're going to be forever small in your eyes now. Like I still think that I'm in shit shape. I've been training 12 years, 15 years straight. But being in the public eye, it forces you to get over it. Like you get some hate, yeah, but you realise this hate is pathetic. It's jealousy. So no hate is real. They're just jealous. No one actually knows you to hate you. So you sort of bypass that if you can. But being in the limelight did make it, like when I was going to the shops, I'd never just chuck a hoodie on. I'd make sure I was dressed half decently, just in case I saw like 20 people.
How important would you say an ego is having an ego is in the fitness industry? Because you see a lot of people which are very, very quiet, and obviously it doesn't necessarily do tons for their following, but then sometimes people which shout a lot louder have bigger followings. Would you say it's a massively important thing? Is it better to have a balance, or is it just how much you can push the boundary with having an ego without it becoming that borderline where some people start to maybe think of other people as obnoxious or things like that? Or is it just...
I think you're 100% right. There's a lot of big egos out there that have followings that they shouldn't, when other people's with small egos, smaller mouths, haven't got the following they should have. Like Ben Carpenter. Have you heard of Ben Carpenter? He is one of the best that I've ever met. He is so intelligent. He is like, and the way he transfers knowledge as well. Like his knowledge base is unbelievable. But the way he transforms his knowledge into actual good output information that people can understand is amazing. And he has got a following and recognition. He has by people that know what they're on about in the game. But to your average Joe, no one knows him, and they should. They know people like Larry Wheels for lifting stupid ass weight, being jacked on so much steroids you can't even fucking sit down. And that's the wrong thing we're promoting. Like Ben Carpenter, he's not on gear, I don't think, you know, I don't know. But he is a very, very sought upon nutritionist. He is so high up in his game, he's so knowledgeable, and he is who we should be following instead of people like this. Like, don't get me wrong, we all want to follow someone that fucking looks good because it motivates us. But whereas these blokes are going to be around for longer, they are true, they're not trying to sell you bullshit. Like a lot of people that are in the public eye that have got massive followings, they're either juiced out their heads, great genetics, and they're just loud. But whereas these guys might not have those three, but their information and their knowledge base is 10 times better, but these are getting bigger following because of the way they look.
Do you think there's a place for anonymity with steroids? Is it a case of if you want them, you should just be very open and say, listen, this is what I'm doing? Or is it a case of people should have a right to kind of deny that status of steroids? Because it's such a taboo nowadays, people judge you for it.
That's a hard one. It's totally up to you. Again, personal choice. If you want to lie to people, lie to people. I'm open as day about it. I just talk about it on my Instagram, on my YouTube. I educate people. So I'm WADA. Do you know who WADA is? WADA is the governing body for the Olympics. So I've done the level 1 course on steroids. So I'm very clued up when it comes to this shit. And I like to talk about it quite openly, sort of to educate the younger generation. So I had a client come to me at 17 years old. His dad had give him Tren at 17 years old. Tren is the most anabolic steroid there is, well, apart from Ment. It is one of the most anabolic steroids there is. It's got a 7:1 androgen ratio. It is fucking strong at 17 years old. So if I can put on my Instagram the way you should be doing it, and even just change one person like that, I'm happy. But again, it is your free choice. If you want to lie to people, if you want to keep it your secret, then yeah, that's your secret to keep. But I don't think that you should be promoting that you're natural. I think you just don't say anything. Don't go on to your 1 million followers and say, yeah, I'm natural, get like this by doing my training plans, when that's not how you're doing it through steroids. If you're going to do it, don't lie about it, just don't say anything, in my opinion.
So do you think there's any way which people can compete, even in the amateur leagues of bodybuilding, without steroids, or is it just, if you are going to be competing, it's an absolute necessity?
Compete without it, you just won't win. Simple as that. You cannot compete with the boys that are on PEDs, because these performance enhancing drugs, that's what they do. That's why they're banned in certain sports, because they give you that edge. And it's not as if it gives you much of an edge, a small edge. It gives you a massive edge. You can train better, you can last longer in the gym, you absorb protein better, you heal better, you sleep better. All these factors are going to contribute to a much better physique. Simple as that. Like they did a study, right, on 4 different clientele groups. So the first 2 are non-steroids, the second 2 are steroids. So a non-training group, training group. Steroid training group, steroid non-training group. So the group that took test strength, I think it was 1 milligram, so 300 milligrams per week of testosterone enthenate for 8 weeks and did not train, put on 1.8 kilos more of lean muscle mass than the natural group that trained. So by taking steroids and not training, you can put on as much muscle mass as a natural person can train in. So think about that when you're going to compete against someone who's natural or not. For example, cutting for a show when you're natural, it's fucking difficult. You have to have at least 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. You have to, because you're going to lose a lot of muscle mass while being in a severe deficit. On steroids, you don't need to do that. You can probably get away with 1.5. You know, you can half what you've taken of protein and still keep that muscle mass, because protein synthesis obviously increases, because obviously your testosterone increases, so you can actually gain muscle whilst in a deficit quite easily when you're on steroids. So it's a completely different ball game, and I'm not saying don't compete if you're natural, but I would say you're not going to win or compete in a natural federation. That's the simple and sad fact about it. Everyone takes it.
But another reason why people usually like coaches longer than if they've educated properly is when they have challenges or problems.
Yeah.
And speaking about challenges and problems, what would you say is what was like your biggest challenge in the fitness industry, or just in your career in general? Was there anything which was a massive setback, or anything which you thought, oh, God, I've been like hit for six there, or?
The worst thing is probably my chest getting ripped off, but in hindsight, it's probably the best thing. Like, getting dropped from rugby, because I was good at rugby. I'm not afraid to say I was going somewhere. I was a cocky bastard. I was arrogant and I knew it.
And what position did you play?
I was a winger, and I was up my own arse. So sort of that, and then being like, fuck, I'm not going to be an athlete anymore. That hit me for six, and it sort of grounded me. And then training for so many years when I was going for the prep and things, and then this happened, I changed the way I trained totally. I changed the way I thought about training, because it always used to be heavier the better. And I understood hypertrophy because I was a PT still, but I wasn't as educated as I am now, or I wasn't as open to being educated by someone else. I thought I knew it all because I was only young, like 20 years old and things. So I think this set me back physique-wise the most, but mentally and health-wise, it's actually probably been the biggest benefit.
And for people which aren't necessarily as obsessed with training, for say like the average gym goer, so you'd say probably the best advice to keep positive and keep motivated is structure his plan.
Yes, that is exactly right. Nail on the head. I think structure and planning helps you keep motivated. Weekly check-ins for me help keep it. So like they're like, I had a bad week last week. I said, why? And then we can have a little chat about understanding why they were unmotivated. Maybe they didn't like one of the workouts. Because there's burpees, they say, I put in there, and they fucking hate it. I'll take that burpees out. I don't want any of my clients to not enjoy their training sessions, because then they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So like you need to enjoy every training session, because that helps you get along the way. Because you're going to turn up more, and you're going to enjoy it more, you're going to do it better. So if someone doesn't like barbell squats, I'll take the barbell squats out and I'll give you an alternative. So it's just about turning up every day, structure, following the plan. Because like I said, if you haven't got a plan and you're knackered today, you're just going to come in doing a half-assed workout, probably half of what you usually do, and fuck off. If you're doing the plan, you're still going to do it, even if you can't be asked, because it's the plan.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And in terms of kind of, you say training's your escape, what would you say is the biggest thing that's helped you get through? Because now obviously you mentioned your granddad earlier when you was training and things like that. What would you say is the biggest thing which training's helped you get over? Training
helps everything. If me and the missus argue, I will come to the gym, like, babe, don't talk to me, give me 2 hours, and I'll come out happy as Larry. Training literally is euphoric for me. I'll leave the gym a different person to what I walked in. My ex, I found out she cheated on me. I was distraught, and I mean, like, I didn't want to leave the house. I was crying my eyes out for like 2 days straight. One of the boys dragged me for the gym. I was in the gym for 3 hours, and then I was like, fuck, doesn't matter anymore. And it generally does change the way I think.
The whole point of why I'm doing this series, as I said earlier, when I was 16, it was for different motivations when I competed. This series now, I'm competing for charity. They helped me out an awful lot. I think I delved into my first episode, which we did, which is Mind, and to kind of raise awareness for a lot of what's unsaid, really. I don't think the NHS probably pays as much attention to the mental health sector as they should, and Mind are a massive, massive help for that. Have you ever had any experience with them personally, or is it something which you've dealt with in the past as a charity? Or?
Yeah, I've done quite a few things for Mind. We used to do charity football matches, quite a lot. I used to run Wetherspoons before Love Island. I used to run Wetherspoons, and Mind was our charity that we used to work with. So we used to do quite a lot of football matches. And then obviously got on Love Island, and obviously what happened with Sophie, that was not just a random thing, that was mental health issues. She had issues when we were together. I've never experienced anxiety in my life. I've had come downs, I've had bad days, whatever, but I've never understood anxiety. So I can't empathise with someone because I don't really understand how they're feeling. I try and help or whatever, but I can't understand how they're feeling. When they say walls are closing in, I can't understand how that feels. I'd like to experience it just so I can understand, just so I can empathise with someone and try and help them. But like that was with Sophie. Sophie, we used to go on like benders and things, and then she'd have a bad come down, lock herself away for 4 days in a hotel room, turn her phone off and not speak to us. So she had bad mental health issues. Obviously that's why she did it. And then after that, I had quite a lot of opportunities to help out. Because obviously they knew Sophie as Sophie and Tom. That because we got famous together, I had a lot of people messaging me saying, will you do this, will you do this, will you do this? And I've had 2 friends of mine commit suicide as grown up. So that door was a great opportunity to step in and actually try and make a difference. And it's not just mine, I've done a few different charities and just helping mental health get awareness. And I'm not saying it can get too much awareness. Some people use mental health as a cool thing these days, which I don't like. Oh, I've got anxiety, I can't do this. You couldn't talk about it. And the people going online, Facebook saying, oh, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to do this. I hate that because 99% of people that do it never tell you. That's how you know it's fake. You're looking for attention half the time when they're doing this. They're screaming out, oh, I've had a bad day, blah, blah. You're asking for people to give you attention now. With every single person that I know personally that had that committed suicide, there's no telltale signs. They're struggling it with themselves, they don't reach out. They don't put it on Facebook, and that's what I don't like about today's society. Quite a lot of people use mental health as a cool thing. They relate to each other. Yeah, we've got anxiety together, or I've had depression. It's now become a fad, which we need to get away from. We need to stop promoting it.
Do you think, especially because it's such a serious issue as well, do you think this new kind of generation of people, which is more of a fashion trend, do you think it trivialises it to a certain extent?
Massively, because like it trivialises it massively. That's a great word, and a great way to describe it. Because you could be suffering really with it, and because I'm saying, oh yeah, I suffer too, people don't take it that seriously, because I'm going to get through it because I haven't really got it that badly. But you could have it very badly and they're going to ignore you because I didn't get it that badly. They're going to put us in the same boat. And then the people that really need help don't get the help that they need. Simple as that. Because everyone's calling wolf, let's say, the people that are actually in need sometimes get missed out.
So do you think there should be more clarity on, because a lot of the work which goes around mental health is about speaking out, but of course speaking out is what probably happens a bit too much with the trivialisation of a massive generation all speaking out about stuff which isn't necessarily an illness, but might just be that they're upset one day. Do you think there should be more clarity on what speaking out actually means, like maybe calling the Samaritan lines or things like that, or is it just a case of just speak to whoever? Because of course then that becomes that blurred line of, is this trivialisation of someone who doesn't have this but is attention seeking, or is it a genuine matter?
Great question. Wow. Great. No, you've nailed on the head with the question. It trivialises the more people talk about it. But then you can't say, because you shouldn't say don't talk to everyone. I disagree with putting it on Facebook, putting it on social media, because that's begging for attention. These people are not your friends. Like I haven't spoken to half my Facebook list in 10 years. Speak to a friend, yes. Speak to someone that helps you, yes. But I dislike the people that put it all over social media, because that does scream attention for me, and none of them ever do anything about it. They actually haven't got it. It's the ones that suffer in silence is the ones you've got to worry about. So obviously you have got to educate people to check in on your friends. If they're a bit more quiet than recently, yes. I think, but it's hard to not trivialise it and promote it at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are going to, they're going to use it no matter what, aren't they?
Do you think there's anything wrong with more of like a showcase of what people have been through once they've done things? Like people which maybe have experience of this and are past that stage now, speaking out on social media, would you say that's probably more acceptable because it's more to say like, listen, this is what I've done. Maybe they're saying it because they're proud of what they've got through, or maybe they're saying it because they want other people to understand that it's all right to go through that. Or is it just a case of it's never okay?
I think both. I think both. You should do it because you're proud of it. You've got over the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life. And if you put that post on, right, people might think, oh, what a shit post. But you could save one person's life. They could be going through the exact same thought process as you. You was in the beginning, and you managed to do this and come out the other side. Maybe they try what you did and it works for them and you've saved someone. So even if you put that shit on social media and it saves one person, you've saved someone. Or you've got someone through that. So I think past experiences, yes. But I think a lot of people, do you know, because like influencers talk out a lot about it, and most of them are trying to help, yes. But then some people join the bandwagon and talk about it, and they're not talking truthfully about it. They didn't get as bad as they say, and they're just trying to be like an influencer. So it's a good thing that influencers talk about it, but it also has its downfall as well, because people just try to copy them, which is a bad thing. Social media is what you want to put on it. It's what you want to show. Like my social media for the past week, you've seen me in the gym, happy as Larry, you know, living my life. My nan's on her deathbed right now and has been for the past 2 weeks. She's literally 24/7. We have Me, my mother and my nan are next to her 24/7. She's on palliative end-of-life care on 3 different types of morphine. We take it in turns. My mother sleeps there one night. What day is it? It's a Sunday. I'm sleeping there tonight on an air bed next to a hospital bed in her house. It is all of what, like you think, oh, I'm living my best life right now, but right now it's fucking hard for me to spread myself between gym, work, and this situation back at home. But no one knows because you don't talk about it. But some people choose to talk about it online, etc. I'm not one of those people that talk about it. I just rather get on with it. It's my business. I'm not looking for sympathy of other people. What does that do? Nothing at all. I'd rather carry on with my social media, my stuff on my terms, and I'll deal with my family stuff at home.
Yeah. Perfect.
Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too.
But you don't need to do these 1 rep maxes, 5s and under. I'll never make any of my clients do under 8 reps. Because you don't need to, like strongmen, powerlifters, they need to work on their 1 rep maxes, so they work in 5s. We don't need to get stronger theoretically. Strength training and hypertrophy are 2 different things.
Yeah.
So we need time and attention, and we need to elicit that response from each individual muscle.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. Okay, so what I tend to do is, because legs is such a big muscle area, you split them into 2 training types. So yeah, you hit both quads and hamstrings in 1 session, but you'll have a dominant session. So today we'll do a quad dominant session to hit all the dominant side, and then like the second session we would do posterior chain, which is our hamstrings and things. Like I want to work them both in each session, but imagine doing your hamstrings and quads in 1 day. Yeah. It kills you off. You're here for 2 hours and you can't utilize it properly. So I'd rather have an hour and 15 on mostly quads, a little bit of hamstrings, and next session, an hour and 15 hammering your quads, hammering your hamstrings with a little bit of quads. So you're sort of splitting it into the most efficient way to train. So instead of being 2 hours today, you are going to be training for 2 hours, but on separate days, because of the energy required to train the legs is fucking loads. So that's why we'll do quad dominant today, and then on the next one you will do hamstring dominant.
So guys, thank you very much for watching today. I can barely stand still anymore, and I've now got a 4.5 hour drive home, which is absolutely amazing. Big shout out to Richie O'Donnell Fitness for letting us film here today, and thank you so much to Thomas Powell for jumping in the video. It was absolutely amazing just to pick his brains on just his vast wealth of knowledge. So on a serious note, we are doing this series to a charity. I'm competing for charity to raise money for Mind. So if you can check out the link below, that'd be absolutely amazing. Donate whatever you can, and if you can't, please share the video so that others can. Remember to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.